guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then welcome to my channel. My name is Kate, as you can kind of tell, and today I was wanting to talk about my story with PCOS, or Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. So Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome means, well, poly means many, cystic means cysts, and ovarian means ovary. So many cysts on your ovary, that's how I had someone describe it the other day. It basically is a hormonal thing and like a reproductive problem. It affects 1 in 5, but they say that 1 in 10 women have it, they just haven't been diagnosed. So not everybody has symptoms, and not everybody has every symptom. I don't have every symptom, I have a few main ones, but we'll get into that one. So I'm gonna rewind back to the beginning and start with how I got diagnosed and when I got diagnosed. So just to start, I'm 26 now, and I was diagnosed when I was 17. I only got diagnosed because I went to the doctors because I was missing periods. And I wasn't pregnant, I was taking multiple pregnancy tests. In fact, every time I go to the doctors, they were always telling me to take one. But I was missing periods, and it had been a very, very long time since I'd had one, and I just kept putting it off because at that point I just didn't like the doctors. I was 17, I didn't like the doctors. But my mum finally made me go one day, so I did. But when I went, I have to say this was a long time ago, this was nearly 10 years ago. So things have changed, or they should have changed. Have heard a lot of people say that it's still quite similar. But when I went, there was no real questions taken. There was no like, oh, do you have this? Or oh, you might have that, or anything like that. It was just, right, okay, we're going to send you for an ultrasound and you're going to get your bloods taken. Okay, but why? But I was 17, so I didn't ask why. I was just like, okay, I guess that's what we'll do. So I went for my ultrasound, got my blood taken, and then I got a letter. Didn't even have the dignity of a phone call, it was just a letter. Probably still have that letter somewhere. It says, following the results of your recent ultrasound and blood test, they basically just said that I had Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. I was 17, I had no idea what that is, and so I did research, and when you do research it's a bad idea, because you always find out that something bad is happening, or you don't have long left to live, and don't Google things. If you think that you have any of these symptoms, please, please, please go and talk to your GP. Just please. The longer you put it off, the harder it is to deal with. There are many things they can do to help with it. And new things are being developed and discovered every day. So I went to go and see a doctor after I received my letter to say, hey, this is what you have. And he basically said, just lose weight. There's nothing else I can do, just lose weight. And having done my research, I found that it could also cause infertility or problems conceiving. And that was concerning to me. I was only 17, but I knew I wanted children. So when I said that to him, he was very unhelpful. He basically told me I had a less than 10% chance of conceiving. So I was very, very depressed after that. I kind of hit a very, very low point in my life, because when I realised that I wanted children, I was very young when I realised I wanted children. So then to be told that, well, actually, you probably won't be able to have children. If you do, then it won't be natural. So I left that doctor's appointment feeling pretty crappy, to be honest, and pretty low about myself. So I went back to see him, because he said just lose weight, and I tried and tried and tried, and I just couldn't. Went back to see him, and he said, just eat less and walk more. I love that advice. That's my favourite bit of advice, because it's useless. I don't eat that much, and anyway, I mean, I look like I just pig out all day, I get that, but I don't eat that much. But one of the side effects, or symptoms I should say, of PCOS is insulin resistance, or the inability to process sugars and glucose and things like that properly. which can cause weight gain. Also with PCOS, you have increased testosterone and male androgens and things like that, so which leads to a bunch of other symptoms. I'm not going to go into all of them because we will be hit all day, so I'm probably just going to talk about the ones that I have experienced with myself. So we know that you have the testosterone and the androgens, which affects a number of things. It can affect things like excess hair growth, so like facial hair, body hair, so like you might get mustaches and beards and stuff. And I know that really, really affects your self-confidence because it definitely affects mine. Body hair, obviously, as well. Can also affect things like where you carry your weight. You'll find that a lot of people with PCOS carry it here. Obviously, you can't really see, but I carry mine predominantly here because that's where men predominantly carry their weight. You'll notice that most men have like quite skinny legs and skinny arms, but they carry it all around their waist. Not all men. So that's probably where most women with PCOS will carry their weight. And it can affect hair loss. I don't have hair loss, as we can see there's a lot of this. Obviously it does still fall out quite a lot, but it can cause things like male pattern baldness in women, which is even more embarrassing for women, I suppose. I personally don't have experience with that, so. Can also affect your hormones and things like your estrogen and things like that, and how your face breaks out. I break out a lot. Like, I break out on my cheeks, on my T-zone and my chin. Obviously there's one there. And I also end up with like really oily skin, which is like being a teenager, even though I'm 26. It's like being a constant teenager. One of the key symptoms, and obviously this is how I was diagnosed and how a lot of people come to a diagnosis, is missing periods. But then it also flips onto the other side is constant periods. There is a name for that. Cannot think of the name of that. So it's either completely absent or completely constant periods. And I've experienced both, and they're horrible. With a missing period, you still can get like the period symptoms, like you may still get stomach cramps and your boobs might hurt, you might break out more, but you just don't get the blood. You don't get the physical periods, you don't get that release of the period. And with the constant one, with my personal experience, it's like a constant period, literally, like my hormones are raging, I'm moody, I'm breaking out. It's literally like a period every single day until it stops. So how most doctors will deal with that is by putting you onto the contraceptive pill. I was put onto that when I was 20, actually no, when I was 19. It was right before my 20th birthday. And everybody's different, so please don't take this as this is what's going to happen. But I took it, because you meant to take it for 3 weeks on and 1 week off. So I took it for my 3 weeks. And on my week off, so like the first day of my week off, on my 4th week, the day after I stopped taking, my blood just looked like I'd cut my leg off. So I called, I suppose it was out of hours, or 111, the non-emergency line. And they told me to go straight to hospital. And I was bleeding so much. I had pads on and I was changing them regularly. But I ended up like leaving marks on the chairs that I was sitting on. I was leaving like a trail as I was walking up to the ward because I was admitted because I was losing so much. I ended up staying in overnight while they were like giving me IV drugs to try and stop it. It slowed down to a point where they were like, okay, yeah, you can go home. So I stayed one night and was sent home. And then I got sent back the next day because I was feeling like really dizzy. But that's a different story. So after a while, I decided I didn't want to take the pill. I stopped taking it after that. I refused to take it for a very long time. I was like, I'd rather deal with the period than deal with that every month, because that was just hell. Like, there was so much blood. So much blood that it was horrible, horrendous. I couldn't do anything, I couldn't move, so I decided to stay off the pill, and I think my periods just went absent. They just disappeared again, didn't come back, and then like a year or so later they came back, and then they stayed, and then they didn't go away. they would come for like 6 months and then they'd go for like a week, and then they'd come for 6 months and then they'd go for a week. And I got fed up with this, and I constantly went to the doctors and said, you know, something's not right, please can we look into this? And I had ultrasounds, and I had this, and I had that, and they said, look, we really don't know why. I said, look, could we just go to a gynaecologist? And they're like, no. Wouldn't refer me to a gynaecologist. I got really like angry with that one. And then they said, okay, well, we can look at contraceptive ideas, options. They offered me the pill. I think I tried that for a little while. Really didn't like it. It did nothing for me. And then they was like, okay, well, we've got 2 other options. We've got the implant and we have the coil. And for some reason, I chose the coil. And I had it put in and it stopped. It immediately stopped. And I was like, this is heaven, because it had been non-stop for over like, I think by the point I had it put in, I was 24. I was 24 when I put it in, and it'd been bleeding on and off for a long time, for about 3 years now. So it stopped. I had my first 2 weeks, I don't think it was that, to be honest, of nothing. And I loved it. And they said, you know, you probably will end up with a normal period. It will come every month, hopefully. That's the aim we're hoping for. You'll either completely stop it altogether, or you'll end up with a normal period. Okay, great. 2 weeks went past after they put it in, and then I got what I would assume was a period. But as soon as that period finished, I was in the worst pain I had ever felt. I have Oromorph from a different reason, and it wasn't touching the level of pain I was in. Like, I was still screaming in pain, like, but it would only last like 20 minutes max, so it just didn't seem worth going to the hospital. So I made a doctor's appointment, and they arranged for me to go and have an ultrasound, but that took a very long time to come. Between I made that appointment and waiting for the ultrasound, I made another appointment with a female doctor, and she said, okay, well, we'll just have a look and see how it's doing. Now, there's supposed to be like a little bit of a resistance when they pull the coil out. Mine just literally just fell out. So my understanding of what actually happened was, it was like, my uterus is kind of, this is a bad representation of a uterus and cervix, but it's kind of like that. And I think it was like trying to come down, but because it's like in a T shape, I think it's scratched on its way down. This is my representation of scratched. So they kept trying to push me and go, why don't we try it again? We can put it back in again. We can put another one in. And I'm like, nope, do not want that pain again. So we fast forwarded a year because I refused to do anything. I would rather have just dealt with what was going on. And they said, we can try the implant. Because I was terrified of them, like, opening my arm and putting something into it. Like, that terrified me. But in all honesty, I really don't know why I didn't make that decision and just go and get the implant before I got the coil. Like, I've had the implant in now 6 months. Got put in on the 24th of November of last year. And obviously today is the 20th of May. So we're rounding around 6 months now. And I have no issues with it. Like, it's just there. Like, wouldn't even know it's there. So that's my history with it. Where we're at today, it has kind of taken a bit of a back burner. Like, there are more important things I'm trying to deal with my health right now. But it is still there. As of with the implant, the bleeding has completely stopped. This is such a TMI video. Should have put a TMI warning at the start. The bleeding has completely stopped. I have no symptoms. Not really, like, it's not really done anything to my hormones. I'm still as hot-headed as I've always been. In terms of the future, I do want to lose weight, but PCOS, again, with the insulin resistance and glucose and sugar issues, it is very, very difficult. So a lot of it is trial and error and trying to find like what works, what doesn't, and everybody's different. I've heard a lot of great things about the Slimming World diet. Not heard much about the Weight Watchers diet, but I'm sure it really does work as well. I've heard a lot about the keto diet, and low carb, low dairy, low sugar, you know, that sort of kind of thing. So I'm sure they probably do work. I haven't personally tried them, but I'm sure that they do work. So if anybody has any experience with those, please drop me a comment down below. I don't seem to like doing this. But please drop me a comment down below and let me know what your experiences are with that, because I would love to know. And yeah, I think that is everything. I don't really have... We're up to date. There is nothing really happening in my world of PCOS right now, other than my weight loss journey, which we'll continue separately. But yeah, if you have any questions about PCOS or you have PCOS yourself, then please drop me a comment, because I love to meet people with it. Also, my top tip for PCOS is to join somewhere like a community where you can like talk to people who have it. My favourite one is on Facebook. I was going to see if I can find the name of it, because I'm terrible with names. It is called the PCOS Support Group UK, and this is the one there, and I think they're amazing. They're also helpful, they're also friendly, and they're all really, like, they have the answers if you want them. But please take everything with a pinch of salt and take the advice of your GP first and foremost over anybody else, because they know best. So they say, anyway. But if you're not happy with anything that your GP says, then please seek a second opinion. And don't Google. Well, obviously you're going to Google, but please just be careful with what you believe other than from your GP. With that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe and stick around for this long and arduous journey of weight loss, because it's beginning. It's beginning. Bye, guys.